or mobile device.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network live. WoodwardSports.com on a fantastic, excellent Wednesday morning. Oh my God, I haven't smoked one of these in months. I feel like a drug addict. Find me any reason, I'll do it, damn it. It's a great day. Today is a fantastic day. Today is a great day to be in America, if you didn't know. Today is actually a great day to be a supporter of the Woodward Sports Network. Today is a great day to be a coffee drinker. Today is a great day to be many things. Many things to be. Today is a great day to be alive. Today's a great day to be a Detroit Lions fan. And of course, finally, today is a great day to be me. What up, Jeff? Good morning, buddy.
Good morning.
How
No,
are you?
it was a great day yesterday, man. Brad Holmes got even more busy. I know at the end, Jamal Williams, we talked about it the last 2 days, and the likelihood of him re-signing. Well, you have your answer. David Montgomery, 3-year deal, $18 million, $11 million guaranteed.
Nice.
How does Brad Holmes do it? How does he consistently do it? Any other prior general manager would have paid any price for Jamal Williams. And I love Jamal. Listen, I appreciate everything he did as a Lion, productivity-wise, and just what he did in the locker room. I appreciate all of that. But there's something that's called being a good general manager, Adam, making the right business decisions. And this was absolutely the right business decision. No matter how you feel about Jamal Williams, the fact that Brad had the kahunas to say, okay, Jamal, here's what we like you at. And Jamal said, well, no. Here's what I like me at. This is what I want to sign at. And Brad's like, okay, well, David Montgomery, here's the same contract. Do you want to join? You want to become a Lion? Okay, let's roll. Let's roll, baby. Let's roll. And I love it. You got a younger, more dynamic, one of the, if you look up the stats, by the way, David Montgomery, one of the highest missed tackle rates. You can look that up.
With Nick Chubb.
Dynamic, more dynamic, younger, love it. More elusive. He's the best back you have immediately. So I love it, man. Brad Holmes.
I'll say
Neil's
this.
going to love this because the financials make sense.
I will say this. The Jamal Williams news is not definitive. It's not official yet that he'll be leaving. I think we all imagine he will be. But to me, yesterday, forget David Montgomery for a second. Emmanuel Mosley. Do you guys not understand what's happening in Detroit? Do you guys not understand for a split second what you will be watching this year? Look, we'll get into Emmanuel Mosley, his 1-year deal coming off an ACL injury. We'll get to David Montgomery. We'll talk about them re-signing John Cominsky. We'll talk about their draft strategy now they've addressed the corner with 2 different players now. We'll talk about so much. But can we all just talk about one very important thing maybe nobody's talking about that I've yet to see anybody have the balls to even say? And I mean this. We talked about expectations on Monday and how expectations will change for this team, whether you like it or not. And if you want to be the same old Lions person, if you want to be the guy, the gal, the it, whatever you define yourself as, it's totally your decision. Whatever you think of this team, whatever you know about its history, which is a really shit history, how do you not put your arms and faith around this Detroit Lions team? And as someone that's been very vocal and very critical, I find myself easily putting my arms around this team this year. Mm-hmm. Whether they live up to expectations, to me, That's not my job. My job isn't to go out there and win football games. That's their job. But I think we can all agree they've positioned themselves without even the draft as already a top 4 roster in the NFC. Already solidified. They are one of the 4 best rosters going into next season in the NFC. They are the division favorite going into next year. They are among the top 4 favorites to get out of the NFC, shockingly. So if you want to play the same old Lions card with me this morning and over the whole offseason, you know what? Fine, that is your right. I would encourage you not to. How do you not put your arms around a front office that makes shrewd moves like this, huh? Do you question the coach? Have I questioned? Absolutely. Was he 4-19-1 at one point? Absolutely. Did they finish 8-2 down the stretch? They absolutely did. And I would like to believe the latter. But unfortunately, they need to prove it. Yes, they do. But how do you not put your arms around this football team? How do I have to wake up, drive home, and listen to so many people talking about the signings, and we're all out there. This is a big deal. Guys, the Detroit Lions, for the first time in my lifetime, have positioned themselves to be legitimate contenders, and they're still doing it the right way. They haven't sacrificed, they haven't overpaid, they haven't misaddressed any position. This is legit. The front office, if you were to ever sell me day one on the Lions working with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, I said it day one, it would be because Brad Holmes would be a phenomenal GM, and it would be a top 10 roster in all of football in 4 years. And you're on pace to do that. How do you not put your arms around this team and say, yeah, I do have expectations. Yeah, I do think they're actually going to be really good. Are you going to miss Jamal Williams? We'll get to that. I don't think so. If the Chiefs can move on from Tyreek Hill, why the hell can't the Lions move on from Jamal Williams? But that's for a later conversation. Jeff? You got to put your arms around this team, whether you like it or not. Whether you're the biggest pessimist or you're an optimist. How do you not? They're doing things not just the right way. Mm-hmm. They're operating, in my opinion, at a top 10 front office level.
Yes.
And I would say they're closer to 5 than 10.
Yeah, that's the big thing. They're operating differently. Like, even what Brad Holmes did, and I tweeted this out last night, it's just different. Like, his approach to free agency, we've seen prior GMs or prior front offices, when you have money available and the first day of free agency opens, you're spending it on Trey Flowers. You're spending it on guys that aren't necessarily big hits or someone you could trust. It ends up being a mistake. Brad Holmes is dishing out low-risk, high-reward sheets. Like, even the one with Cam Sutton, a guy who's entering his prime or is in his prime currently, playing some of his best football. You got him on a 3-year deal, $30 million. Like, it's not bad. And then you get Emmanuel Mosley, who tore his ACL last October, has a ton of upside, just hasn't been able to stay healthy. Okay, here's a 1-year deal. Here's a flyer. And then David Montgomery, very productive back, underutilized in Chicago. Jamal's asking for too much money. Okay, let's go after David Montgomery on a cheaper deal.
Who, by the way,
how he's maneuvering, that's a good front office.
Has played at least 13 games every single year of his career. That means something to me, especially when DeAndre Swift is a big question mark. Do I like Swift? Do you like Swift? Who doesn't?
Right.
Swift is uber talented.
And let me tell you the other thing Brad pointed out, because this is something you don't hear a lot about guys like David Montgomery. This is quoted on ESPN.com in the article they wrote about him signing with the Lions. He says, or they said in the article, at the end of the 2022 season, Bears general manager Ryan Poles praised Montgomery for his contributions on the field and leadership that helped insulate the locker room during a 3-14 season. So, listen, you don't think Brad thinks about that as well? Like, David brings leadership qualities?
David Montgomery fantasy football owner, okay? You have no idea how disgusted I was that this guy would carry the workload behind a shit offensive line in Chicago, and then Tariq Woolen would take the 6 points at the goal line. You have no idea the trauma, the losses I suffered because of this. I know me some David Montgomery, and I'm on board with it. I told you, you could draft a 4th, 5th round running back, and he could produce If you gave him 262 carries, I would guarantee you he could produce 1,000 yards just like Jamal Williams did. You can replace that production. Are you concerned about the leadership? Well, Detroit, newsflash, you've been selling me on Dan Campbell and his culture. I think they'll be just fine without Jamal Williams. Do you love to have a guy like that in the locker room?
Absolutely.
Everybody does. When it goes against my foundational rules as a general manager, sorry, you got to go. It's a home run. It is business in Detroit, and I can't believe it. To me, this is Christmas morning. This is better than any draft pick. This is better than anything you could have imagined going into free agency.
Mm-hmm.
To me, this is Brad Holmes saying, we have a window. I'm paying Jared Goff relatively nothing compared to some of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And if you want to compare him to his peers, he's outperforming all of them outside of course, the elite ones. And they're all getting paid more. Dak's getting more. Kirk's getting more. Tannehill was getting more. Everybody was getting more.
Yep.
And I'm getting more production. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with Jared. But this is for later in the show. All signs point to what in the draft exactly? I want to talk about draft strategy. Because if you could ever sell me on drafting a quarterback, I'm still not sold. But I think people who are making the case at least have a case. I don't think they do it, but I'd be willing to listen a little bit more this morning.
Yeah.
So today is a great day. Now, is it a great day because Jamal Williams likely isn't returning to the Lions? No, it's not about Jamal Williams. It's about the principles of running a football team, a professional football team, the correct way. And you have a front office that's doing that. Brad Holmes, I saw a lot yesterday about the villain hoodie and the villain gear he's been wearing, and he's a villain now. No, he's not. He's a shrewd general manager that I can respect.
Who doesn't let personal feelings get in the way, which that's one of the most important things. It's all business, baby. And he's nailed the business decisions. So.
God, I miss smoking this.
You definitely deserve to today.
God, I missed it. Oh, my goodness. What a day. What a day. We have a great show lined up for all of you at home. Coming up next, Emmanuel Forbes, David Montgomery, the re-signings. We'll get to all of that. How does it affect their draft strategy coming up at 8:30 now that they've signed Mosley, they've signed Sutton, they've signed Montgomery, they've re-signed Buggs, they've re-signed Anzalone, they've re-signed Cominsky. Draft needs are very simple. And to me, the board is so clear now. I don't have to hear about Beydoun. I don't have to hear about any of this bullshit. I don't have to hear about a corner at 6 or even 18 now. Could they still do it and take a corner at 18? We'll get to that at 8:30. At 8:45, the state of the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers is going to be on Pat McAfee later. Probably going to announce his move to the Jets. Good for him. Fuck him. It's not going to work. I don't care. But we are going to talk about it because it is relevant, and it is relevant to the Lions. And we'll get to that at 8:45. Top of the hour, Calvin Johnson. Do you guys see this? Calvin Johnson went on ESPN in the morning the other day. Praised Dan Campbell. Talked about him a little bit. Very interesting comments on his former coach. I can't wait to get to that. We'll go around the NFL free agency at 9:15. 9:30, like I mentioned, the Aaron Rodgers news. How does that affect the Lions? What's next? So much coming up. So much. I can't wait. It's going to be a great show today. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Cintron.
Well, Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings. Right now, they have an exclusive offer for Woodward sports fans and their limited editions Red Wings 6-pack. Only $15 plus free shipping. Head to drinkcintron.com/Woodward and try it today. All 3 delicious Cintron flavors in one: classic sugar-free, and cranberry. That's drinkcintron.com/Woodward.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. If you have a big project coming up, Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show live, woodwardsports.com, 8:15 on a beautiful Wednesday morning. Like I mentioned, today is a great day. It is a great day, well, because I get to smoke, and Brad Holmes gets to operate like a goddamn professional, excellent GM. And I'm all here for it, Jeff.
So my question is, when are you going to pass that? Or is this...
Puff, puff, pass, man. Come on.
Look, I don't know where you grew up, all right? There's no such thing as puff, puff, pass with a goddamn hookah, all right? I don't know what kind of culture you guys are growing up in, but it's not how it works. I'll bring you one. I'll bring you one tomorrow. I think I'm going to smoke a hookah for the rest of the week, to be honest with you.
You will literally die.
Knowing good.
Knowing you.
Dying, knowing that I don't have to watch whatever the hell is coming up next, I don't mind. Because I really believe, I don't think there's ever a higher point you can point to. And post-1994.
Okay.
Where there was this much buzz, confidence, and I'm going to say that word so often, confidence in the Detroit Lions. I'm not telling you they're better than San Francisco right now, or even Philly, who, by the way, re-signed James Bradbury. I'm not telling you they're better, or that they should be the favorites in the NFC. But they're building something. You got a young core, and this was already one of the youngest rosters in the NFL, and you re-sign Bugs, and you get a 28-year-old Sutton, and you get Emmanuel Mosley, and you get an older David Montgomery. Yeah, sign me up. Sign me up. Jeff, Emmanuel Mosley, let's talk about him first. On a one-year deal. It's a prove-it deal. This reminds me of the Chark deal more than anything. Solid move. Yes, coming off an ACL injury, but I think we all remember Emmanuel Mosley in San Francisco. Hell of a ball player. If he's healthy, it's a great signing. If he struggles, it's a one-year deal. Nobody's going to lose sleep over it. For me, jokingly, and I got to shout out my friend Justin for this one. When the signing went down, I shot him a little text. I was like, hey, how about Jeff Okudah having his work cut out for him? And he brought up a very good point. This is the supporting cast around Jeff Okudah. Jeff Okudah is going to be an all-pro corner this year. You excited for it? Because I am.
Well, for Emmanuel Mosley, let's just stick with him. The amount of games
I told you I'd be an asshole
I know
today.
you would. But for Emmanuel Mosley, this deal's interesting, and I think you said it perfectly. It reminds me a lot of the DJ Chark flyer last year. I mean, you're taking a risk on a guy who's been injured a lot, but still, when he plays, there is productivity. Like last year, he played 5 games for the 49ers. 5 games. He had a pick 6, 5 pass deflections. That's productivity in 5 games. So, again, for $6 million, it's a flyer. I don't mind it at all. It's risk-free, and you get a guy who's only 26 years old. And this is a thing, too, because you look at players, can they stay healthy? He may never stay healthy, like a DJ Chark. He thought he'd stay healthy. He was hurt most of the season. But at least you get, when he's there, you're getting someone who's productive, somebody you can rely on as well, played in San Francisco for the last 5 years. So I like the deal a lot. It's non-committal. It's 1 year. If you play some of his best football, you can either re-sign him or let him walk. So it's risk-free. And this is the direction Brad's been going in, and I often always give him praise for.
What was one of the biggest
risk-free
weaknesses
deals
on this team last year? Their secondary.
So let's go.
You clinged
take
on
a
to
risk.
Jeff Okudah having a good game or 2 or 3 throughout the whole season. You clinged on to Chase Lucas making a cameo and having a good game maybe all season, but he dealt with his problems all year. What? Jerry Jacobs coming off his injury, you held on to that. Mike Hughes, solid, reliable. You got Cameron Sutton now and Emmanuel Mosley to beef up that secondary. A+. 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 Is it long-term? No. Is it the long-term solution with Mosley? Probably not. But am I going to pay a corner, let alone a rookie corner, that's going to come in and be better than either of them day one? See, that's my problem with this draft class. I think this draft class has potential, but I don't see a Patrick Surtain or a J.C. Horn or even, let alone a Sauce Gardner, coming out this year where I really need to think about a corner at 6. To me, that was always ludicrous. So we'll get to the draft at 8:30. But Mosley, my goodness, addressing needs. Thank you, Brad. And then we want to talk about David Montgomery. Well, look, Jamal Williams, nice guy. Watches anime. He's the heart and soul of this team. You know, take that for what it's worth. I don't know what that means, but it's just what people tell me. Yeah, he's gone, probably. He's likely gone. And that's okay. You know why? Because he got a younger back with a lot less wear and tear, who is old for a running back, given he's been here for 4 years in the NFL, and he's carried the ball well over 200 times most of his career. He's got his fair share of workload. But, again, you're signing him on a 3-year deal. He'll be 28 by the time the deal ends, and you're not too worried because, you know what? You have an out after this year anyways. To me, the running back position is so easy to replace. You don't need a Dalvin Cook. You don't need any of this stuff. You don't even need the CMCs. You don't need any of these guys. You just need guys that can run the ball effectively situationally. That's exactly what David Montgomery brings. He brings a pass catching dynamic that you didn't have with Jamal Williams. I think it's a fantastic move. It's at that $6 million a year number that was being thrown out there according to reports. I don't mind it. I don't know how Jamal Williams would ask for more than that. To me, that was more shocking. But when you have a 17-touchdown season, you got to cash in. I respect it. No problem. Moving on.
And Adam Schefter said that yesterday. I think it was yesterday or a couple days ago, talking about players. If you're one of the top free agents, you have to sign that deal quickly when free agency opens up. Because once guys like David is signed, Saquon's franchise tag, now Jamal is getting to a point where you got the Bills, you have the Bengals. She's probably going to join one of those teams. You might not get the money you're asking for. So we're getting to a point now where the running backs, they're being plucked off the board. Bears just picked up Travis Homer, if I'm not mistaken. The Lions just got David Montgomery. Like, teams are getting busy.
Who got Rashad Penny?
Eagles.
The Eagles.
See, the market's clearing up. So, I get it, Jamal. You think you deserve money, and quite frankly, I hope you get it. Just ain't going to be in Detroit.
Yeah, no, nothing personal, bro. Goodbye. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Good GMs, baby.
What a great day to be a Detroit Lions fan. Think about it. And I'm not talking just locally. Yeah, locally, I think we're all pretty much on the same page. But even nationally. And you don't really rely on the national perspective, but you know what? It's kind of affirmation. It's that positive reinforcement every once in a while, like, hey, even national are taking an eye to this team. Even national are looking at the moves and like, oh, wow, I wasn't expecting that. Oh, wow, 2 corners? Wow. Got him on a pretty solid deal. Cam Sutton, I mean, you're talking about a top 25 corner according to PFF last year. You're talking about a guy that graded higher than a Pro Bowl and All-Pro corner in Trayvon Diggs. And oh, by the way, if you thought Jeff Okudah was good last year, well, Cam Sutton was 70 spots better last year. So, yes, sign me up. Sign me up for the Brad Holmes project. To me, this has Brad Holmes written all over it. I still have questions about the coach, sure, but I am a lot more comfortable putting my arm around it, given what I saw down the stretch. You give Jared Goff a top 15 defense, he'll go win you 8 of 10 games. What did Sean McVay do so well with Jared Goff? They had a very good defense, and they had an offense where, let's be real, yes, it was Todd Gurley in that offensive line, but let's not forget the Brandon Cooks and the Cooper Kupps, and they had options all over the field. Mm-hmm. And that's what Jared has in this offense. It's St. Brown, but it can also be Khalif Raymond against Chicago. It can also be Jamison Williams now that he's going to be healthy going into next year. And it can be any of the tight ends, clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, and the occasional Penei Sewell out route, which is, a joke. But still, this offense doesn't rely on a single player. And to me, that's the beauty of offense in general. When you can't, we're going to go in, we're going to stop Justin Jefferson, and suddenly Minnesota's offense is going to fall apart. You can take St. Brown out of the game. Go for it. That's going to give more looks for Jameson Williams, more looks for these tight ends over the seam, underneath.
Now your running backs?
The running backs out of the backfield.
Yep.
And even whether it's Josh Reynolds or Khalif Raymond, I mean, Goff has rapport with them. So a David Montgomery signing, yeah, are you upset? To everybody that's upset or your feelings are hurt this morning, okay? I got I think a positive thing to say that I think will make a lot of you feel better about the Jamal Williams thing. And I know some of you, again, leader in the locker room, cultural guy, he's a Dan Campbell guy, da-da-da-da. I get it. But here's what I want you to do with your feelings this morning.
Oh, jeez.
I want you to take your feelings, crumble them up a little bit,
Okay.
and shove them up your ass. Because your feelings don't matter. Because I got David Montgomery for $6 million, and I really didn't think I was going to be able to do that. And he's younger, and he's honestly more productive, and he played behind a shit offensive line in Chicago. Put him behind this offensive line, dude's going to have quite a few seasons here in Detroit. Oh, by the way, we're looking at David Montgomery. It's all the talk this morning. That takes a lot of pressure off of DeAndre Swift.
Oh, yeah.
What that does for the offense, what looks the Lions can give. Well, what does it mean when Montgomery's in the game? And then when Swift's in the game?
I think
it means the same thing, really,
Yeah.
because they both can do the same thing. One, unfortunately, Swift struggles with injuries. So does this eliminate the idea of them drafting a running back? I don't think so. For sure, later on the board, and whether he makes a team or not is irrelevant to me. They did re-sign Craig Reynolds, but there's options. There's solutions. So I don't care about your feelings this morning. I don't care that Jamal Williams was liked. This isn't Darius Slay 2.0 where the coach walks in and tells him go fuck himself. And everybody hates the coach. This is, Jamal, you were serviceable for 2 years. That's the contract we gave you. Very thankful for what you did in your 2 years here. We appreciate you. Number doesn't add up. Out the door you go. Moving on. We're not interested in paying an older running back north of $7.5, $8 million annually to be the backup. How about we go get a guy who can be a legit one, who will probably average, I would guess, 4.6 to 4.8 yards a carry during his time in Detroit. You can book me on that. Compared to Jamal's, what, 4.1? Yeah. Oh, okay. Sign me up. Sign me up, Jeff. It's a great move. It's a great day for Brad Holmes. It's a great day for the Lions organization. Look, Sutton, Montgomery, Mosley. Those are the key three so far. You expecting any other movement?
Potentially. I mean, I think this is pretty much for the most part what you're getting. I mean, Cam Sutton was the big one. You got Mosley, took a flyer on him. You got Montgomery. Honestly, even though they re-signed Anzalone, I'm still a little concerned about the linebacker core. But again, I mean, they can address that in the draft. So at this point, their draft strategy, and we'll get to it and talk about how it changes now that free agency is kind of wrapping up. I don't think it changes much. You just have to go out and BPA. Get whoever's the best player in front of you, except for Beydoun, obviously, because you got David Montgomery.
Well, thank God I don't have to hear about Beydoun anymore. I love you.
Yeah.
And you know what? I get people trying to make it make sense, but it just never does. And I have rules, and they're my rules. And you don't have to agree with my rules. But I think a first-round running back is absolutely ridiculous unless you're a team, for example, like a Philly,
right,
before they signed Rashad Penny, where you have two picks and one of them's in the top 10. You're like, you know what? We already got a stacked team. Why not? You don't have that luxury. You don't have that luxury. So for me, this is phenomenal. This means so much moving forward. We'll talk about draft strategy next. What does it mean for pick 6, pick 18? Do they go defensive line with both? Do they still take a corner at 18? Do they consider moving up? Do they get a quarterback? We have so much to talk about, and I'm so very excited to do it all. And you know what? More importantly than anything, I'm enjoying myself this morning. I'm enjoying myself.
As you should.
I'm going to go light up some more charcoal while we take a break, and I'm going to smoke my fucking lungs out. And you know what, Doc? I know my doctor's probably very disappointed in me watching this right now, but damn it, I got to work. I got to be me. Well, isn't that what everybody says nowadays? Isn't that the 2023 thing to say?
It is.
I got to be me. So
So while you do that, I'm going to tell you about the best free agent available, and that's your friends at Guardian Alarm. Because now that it's a new year and free agency's wrapping up, let Guardian Alarm help you. Their professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. You can call them anytime, day or night. Know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you for as long as you need. Your safety and security deserves technology that's not only been proven to work, but people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today for more information.
Saturdays at 1 p.m. Make sure you're watching WoodwardSports.com for our new show, Chompin' Puck.
He shoots! He scores!
With four-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty and Michael Gentry, Chompin' Puck is taking the Detroit hockey community and giving them a voice. Pros to Joes. You'll get the best Detroit hockey coverage around. Chompin' Puck. Saturdays 1 p.m. on WoodwardSports.com.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You can get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
About my good friends over at Custom Health Centers. Dr. Jason and his team will make you look like Gary. If you're struggling, with weight loss, there's no better program. Gary down 62 pounds since he started. He looks like a whole new man. And if you don't believe me, check in at 2 o'clock today with Braylon Edwards and Ryan Ermanni, and you will have all the proof you need. It works. Ermanni's down 20 pounds. And I'm very, very, very happy for him. Well, Jesus Christ, what's going on here? Up. Hit up. Jesus Christ. All right, anyways, give him a call, 844-789-8446. We are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live at WoodwardSports.com. Jeff, I am going to finish lighting my hookah, so I'll give you the floor. Lions draft strategy, what's changed in Jeff Iafrate's opinion?
Zero's changed. Because it should have been always best player available. That's how I've approached these. That's why you've seen my mocks change so drastically. Because if Jalen Carter or Will Anderson is there, then there's your guy. If one of the quarterbacks are there, quarterbacks that maybe I like, then I'm taking them. So to me, it's always been best player. I never really moved on from that. Even, back in the draft, the guys I've taken, it's never really been strictly based on position. It's always, best player, maybe at a position you prefer. The Lions, it doesn't really change much. If anything, this pushes in the direction, for me at least, that if Jalen Carter's there, the Lions, they have to take him. The only position they didn't really address yet, besides Bugs, is interior defensive line. So that tells me if a Will Anderson or Jalen Carter's there, that's a no-brainer. They're being taken. Now, the corners, I wouldn't rule out a corner, although I'm not the biggest fan of a corner at 6, especially the corners that are available, like Gonzalez, but at 6, it might be a little too high. It doesn't really change much for me. They got to still go best player available, and to be honest with you, I can see a scenario where you're taking either Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson, depending on how many quarterbacks go in the top 5, which I do think as the draft comes closer, that number is going to rise. The Lions are going to be in a position to take one of the better defensive players in this draft, and that's exactly what they should do, unless there's a quarterback. And you guys know how I feel about a quarterback. But besides that, I don't think it changes much, Adam. You just got to take the best defensive player or quarterback that's available.
Oh, my goodness. This thing is hitting perfectly this morning. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. Look at this.
Uh-oh.
Grape mint, by the way, for anybody asking. This is grape mint. Here's what I think. Here's what I think, and here's what I know. What I know is they still need help up front on the defensive line. You do not pass on a Jalen Carter if he's available at 6. Rumored reports, Chicago expects Jalen Carter to be there at 9.
No way.
I don't know how legit that is. What I do know, if he is there at 6, I find it hard-pressed to believe that Brad Holmes would pass on a player, a talent like Jalen Carter. Having said that, here's what I think. I think a lot's changed. Because to me, it was always definite that with pick 18 or 48, you were going to go after a corner. Whether it was Emmanuel Forbes, Joey Porter Jr., who I still very much love.
Yeah.
But is it a must now? No. And to me, the biggest asset for a GM in the NFL is when you're not pressured to draft a position. And well, what does that mean? Well, it means sometimes the board shapes up in a way where, you know, you want this player, but can you justify having them because you have so many other holes? And a lot of GMs face that problem, and a lot of them don't know how to handle that pressure, and they typically make the wrong decision. Chicago, perfect example. They don't want to be picking at 1. Could they land legitimately Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, their choice? They could do that. And you know what? Not many people would hate on them for doing it. But you know what? Picking at 9, getting assets, getting your quarterback that you want to figure out if he's going to make it in this league, a wide receiver, yeah, well done. So Chicago did the right thing. And now Detroit, you're sitting at 6 and 18. You can trade back to 8 to 10. Hell, you can stay put at 6 and get the guy you want and then move up from 18 with the capital you still have.
Nice.
To me, this board shapes out in such a positive way now for the Lions. I think they have all options available. Yes, that includes quarterback. Do I think they're going to do it? No, I don't. Could you sell me on them doing it? Maybe. Maybe you can still sell me on it. I just don't see it. To me, it's Kalijah Kancey or Jalen Carter at 6, and nobody will change my mind. If Jalen Carter's there, he's going to the Lions. I doubt they pass on him. If he's gone, if they trade back, I think the move is Kalijah Kancey, and then at 18, we get to all have a conversation. Now, I'll be real with all of you. I see all your DMs. I do. I'm doing my best to get to all of them, but I do see them. And for those of you that sent your updated mocks that have Quentin Johnston in there at 18, do me a favor. You probably don't want to tune into the show right now because I'm not going to say very nice things about you. In my mind, there's no world where they go back-to-back years taking a first-round wide receiver. It's not going to happen. So get that stupid thought out of your head. That's not going to happen. What's going to happen is we talk about players where they might go. Where does Lucas Van Ness fall? Top 15? Well, that's really close to 18. And if he's there on the board after you took a Jalen Carter, why would you not? Am I incentivized to take a corner this year? Nah. Emmanuel Mosley, Cam Sutton, and look, whether I like him or not, Jeff Okudah still is there, and I am paying him $10 million. You're damn right he's going to play it this year. So am I pressed to draft a corner? No, I still could, though.
I think 18, there's not really a position you're looking for specifically. It's just best player available. I mean, I had mocks where I had Nolan Smith. I've had, a corner. I've had a running back. I've had a linebacker. I've had so many different scenarios that it really doesn't matter to me. I think the Lions are in a good position at 18 because you could trade up and get somebody if you think they'll go before, if you want to get one of the better corners, or you could trade back. So 18, I think 6 is, we're looking at it similarly, interior defensive lineman. That's what you're looking at.
I doubt they go edge.
Unless it's Will Anderson, of course. But other than that, no, I would agree with you. But at 18, it could differ. Like, I could make a legitimate case for even like a Nolan Smith, outside linebacker, somebody you can move around the defense. So a couple guys I like at 18. So Lions are in a good spot. They really are.
Lions are in a good spot. And you know what? Thank you, Jeff. That's the exact way to put it. The Lions are in a good spot. There's no pressure.
No.
There is no pressure to appease the fans with Bijan Robinson. Hell, there's no pressure to appease the people that support Goff or don't support him. You can take a quarterback. You don't have to take a quarterback. You're very much in control of whatever you want to do. And may I remind all of you, Yes. Yes. Do I think the Lions can trade back from 6 still? I do.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a guarantee that 3 quarterbacks will go in the top 4? I think so. I do. I think 3 quarterbacks go. You can book Stroud at 1 likely, 2 Bryce Young, and my guess would be Levis at 4 to Indianapolis. Well, who does that leave on the board? It leaves Anthony Richardson. Atlanta's not going to trade up anymore, so 8's not really realistic. The Eagles don't have any incentive to trade up. So, well, who can actually trade with you? I think your partners have diminished a bit, but I still think there is a market for that pick. Is it as sexy? Could you get a future one? I don't think so anymore. Depends how far back you would trade. But to me, it's get a pass rush on the interior. You have Lee McNeil already. He's a good run support defensive tackle. You have Aiden. You have all these guys. Do me a favor. Shore it up. Go get somebody who can wreak havoc up the middle. There's nothing more annoying for a quarterback when he can't step into his throws because of pressure that's in his face. Go look at what the San Francisco 49ers have done. They're in all-in mode. They're not paying Jimmy G. They're not paying anybody. They're paying all their key star players. And they're all in. And they went and got John Hargraves. Why? They already have Eric Armstead. Well, now they have just become stupidly talented with their defensive front. And if I remember correctly, once upon a time, when the Lions were actually a legitimate football team, and they won 10 games under Schwartz and 11 under Caldwell, they had a hell of a pass rush. Ansah, Sue, and company. It was really fun to watch.
Fairly. Yeah.
Fairly. You can go on and on. Even that white dude that wore the contact lenses scared the living hell out of me as a kid. Yeah. Him too. It was a good, deep pass rushing unit. That's what you want. So for me, the strategy is go shore it up. You got Aiden last year. Thank you very much. Well done. Go get interior support, whether Jalen Carter or Kalijah Kancey. And at 18, I think you can still take a Joey Porter if available. And I think you can honestly trade out of the pick. And would a team be willing to give up next year's first-round pick for 18? Would I advise to do that? Depends who's on the board. But next year also is the clock of Jared Goff's last year. So you really have to think about that too. So yeah. I'm excited, man. It's a really good day for Detroit in general. I think a lot of clarity has been brought to the table. And my goodness, they've gotten so much better.
And the fact that the Lions haven't even signed a backup quarterback yet lets me know either A, they're waiting and they'll sign a backup quarterback because there's still some guys available, or B, they'll draft their guy. And I'm curious, it doesn't matter where they draft him. It could be at 6, my preference, or it could be, a Clayton Tune, a Stetson Bennett. It could be one of those guys later in the draft. So some things are going to get interesting very, very soon. And I think at 18, now that the free agency's wrapped up, give me Nolan Smith, give me a corner.
It's still defense. I think most people would agree with that.
Yeah,
so
defensively, but those two positions I'm looking at.
It's a great position to be in.
Edge or corner at 18.
It's a great position to be in. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to smoke. We're going to enjoy ourselves. We're going to take a quick little break. Top of the hour, 9 o'clock, we'll get to Calvin Johnson's comments on Dan Campbell. Very interesting comments. Called him a soldier. But next, I want to talk about the NFC North. A lot of praise for the Chicago Bears in the recent days, all right? But what have Minnesota and Green Bay done? Not much. And now you start to understand why the salary cap is real. We'll get to those two teams and Chicago and what it means for the Lions coming up next. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Chili Peppers Tanning.
Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find all the cleanest salons in the D with spotless sanitized rooms and trained and certified tanning professionals. You can join the Pepper Club for all the best deals. They'll beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Hottest bulbs, hottest deals, darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters, 27 locations and more. On the way.
Oh, yeah. Woodwardsports.com. Home Bracket Challenge. Gardner White. You heard about it, too? Be on the way like me. Lazy Boy section. It's this way. It's almost tournament time, so you know what that means. Go to Woodwardsports.com. Sign up now for the Bracket Challenge because you might be able to win some of these Lazy Boys or $1,000. You never know. I'm just saying. See you there. Gardner White, the only local Michigan furniture store. you got to come check them out. Lazy Boy, that's my section.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Oh, these are my favorite shows. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Live, woodwardsports.com as always. For all the latest news on your favorite sports teams, make sure you check out woodwardsports.com for all the breaking news as well. We got some fantastic writers working here at the network. Very proud of all of them. One of them sitting in studio today. But also, if you didn't get a chance to watch this live, well, you can go download the podcast on Apple Podcast or on Spotify. Wherever you listen to podcasts, will be available. Make sure you leave Jeff a 5-star. Look at this kid. Leave him a 5-star review for that set of hair. That is growing back, by the way. I'm very happy for you. It's a little fuzzy.
Yeah,
but we're getting there. We're almost back to Gucci, Jeff. We're getting there.
Yeah, there's the peaks and valleys, and then you got to get to...
There's a lot of valleys.
A lot of valleys.
It's just valleys until you get your hair back, bro.
That's what it is.
All right. State of the NFC North. I haven't done this probably since January, and for good reason. There really wasn't much to talk about with the other teams, but now you look at Minnesota re-signing a few players, but letting a lot of key veterans go, addressing their salary cap position, and they still have to sign Justin Jefferson, to be fair, to a mega contract. He is going to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL, rightfully so. They don't have a choice but to offer him that. Chicago, shrewd moves, had a ton of money. Significant signings, T.J. Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah, they got busy.
They got busy with linebacker. They're going to keep going. I'd expect them to make a run for an offensive lineman. Is it Orlando Brown? Likely, who knows? So we'll see what the market is. Are they going to draft Peter Skronsky at 9? The Bears can do a lot of good things. I'm not going to completely shit on the project. They've done some really smart things. Am I worried about them next year? Absolutely not. Am I worried about Minnesota? I still think they'll be an 8, 9, 10-win football team at best. I don't see this team winning 12, 13 games again. It's not going to happen. Green Bay, Matt LaFleur, post Aaron Rodgers you would expect. The Jets went and traded for Alan Lazard. So clearly the crew's coming to town in New York, and it's not going to work. But, I don't really care, to be honest with you. Will Green Bay get a significant draft package? I don't know what they'll get for Aaron Rodgers. The mumblings of 2 first-round picks, to me, that is a lot for a guy that maybe is going to play 1, 2 at most years. But this is what the Jets fucked up with. This is what happens when you draft a quarterback high, and they don't work, by the way. We always talk about in Detroit getting a quarterback as if it will work. It's one of the biggest crapshits in the NFL. Do you trust your GM to draft one? Of course you do. But not everybody's perfect. Not everybody hits on everything. Quarterback's a very hard position to figure out. That's why we talk about certain intangibles that maybe don't make sense on the field. Adversity, character. Well, how do you define that? Some people define it better than others. Okay. So the Lions right now, to me, have had the best offseason. I think the Bears have done well. I don't know how I feel about putting almost $100 million on 2 linebackers, but, they can do their business. That's up to them. No problem at all. But they've invested in DJ Moore now, getting him in that acquisition. They have more draft capital. They are going to be able to make some moves. Chicago is an interesting project. I don't think it works. Defensive head coach. Mobile quarterback that really, really needs to showcase something this year outside of running. So we'll see. We'll see. But to me, the Lions are the clear favorites in the North. They're obviously the betting favorites. But what I mean by favorites is they've got the best project going on right now. Who's got it better than the Lions in the North? Minnesota? Green Bay?
Yeah,
Chicago?
Even those teams, I mean, they made moves, but
I asked you yesterday.
Who's got it better? I would say
asked you
Lions.
yesterday, position by position. Who's better, the Lions or the teams I name? Quarterback. Vikings better?
No, I would say the Lions.
Bears better?
No, no.
Packers better?
No.
Okay. Running back. Clearly the Lions. We're not even going to have the conversation. I don't care about Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. That tandem still hasn't even really worked, in my opinion. It doesn't make sense to me.
And they have the best offensive line, so if you want to go there.
But if you want to give it to Green Bay and you want to be a prisoner of names, be my guest. I'm going to stick with Detroit on this. Better than Minnesota's, better than Chicago's. Wide receiving core. Minnesota has Justin Jefferson. What do I say about that? They have the best receiver in the division.
Collectively, I would say the Lions. Yeah.
You saw what Jameson Williams gave you down the stretch? St. Brown's a 100-catch guy in the league. Yeah, I like Detroit's. Tight end, kumbaya. You can have whoever you want in the division. I don't really care who has the best tight end. To me, it's irrelevant. The best offensive line, Jeff, is?
No question.
In
Lions.
Detroit. The best defensive line is in?
Detroit.
And that's taken into account. They're probably going to add to it with the 6th overall pick.
Of course, yeah.
Linebackers, got to give it to Chicago, to be fair. Secondary? Well,
I would say
secondary
Green
is
Bay.
a toss-up. I would say Green Bay.
Yeah, because you got Jair, Eric Stokes.
I would say Green Bay for the secondary, but I think Detroit's a good second, a quality second. But I think it is Green Bay. Okay? Well, then we've checked off almost every box compared to every team in the division. Yeah, they're the favorites, Jeff. To me, I'm waking up on a Wednesday morning, more signings. I haven't really seen Minnesota do much. Why? Because they can't do much. And they have to pay the best receiver in the NFL, arguably. It sucks. You got to do it. Lions are the favorites, and they have the best project going on right now.
I would agree. Vikings made some moves. They got Byron Murphy. They got Mark Davenport, another signing that I liked. So the Vikings have been busy, but still they had to let some guys go as well, and we'll see what the future of Dalvin Cook holds in Minnesota. But Chicago got busy as well, and I actually like some of the moves Chicago made. Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, like the signings. Again, you go out and sign Nate Davis, a guard. They're trying to get Orlando Brown right now, but again, it's been reported that Orlando Brown looks at himself like a left tackle. Teams view him as a right tackle. So the last thing for the Bears to do is go get a tackle. Much more easier said than done. So the Bears, to me, they got much better, but they're still, to me, like, what, a 6-win team, if you want to be real. The Lions have real division expectations. The Vikings, I would say, are the other team. I don't even want to put the Packers there yet because I don't know what Jordan Love is, so it's unfair to even say they will or will not win the division. The Vikings and the Lions, two teams that are competing for it. But the difference is the Lions have majority young players that are under contract for the next handful of years. They're not going anywhere. And on top of that, Brad's going to continue to have money available. And if he spends it like this and he's smart with it, oh boy. And take into account the draft picks he's hitting on, and we'll see what he does with that 6th overall pick in 18. You could have 2 more immediate starters on your defense and or offense. Don't want to rule that out. But if Brad could continue to do what he's been doing, not only through the draft but through free agency, it's not about just this year. It's about the next 5 years. And that's why I always bring up the quarterback talk, because I don't know what Jared Goff's future holds if you're talking 5 years, if he's even worth the extension, if it's going to cost $45 to $50 million. But Brad is building a roster that is not only going to be contend for a Super Bowl, but will contend for a long period of time. That's what good general managers do. That's what Brad was a part of with Les Snead. Brad comes from that tree. He's doing it in a similar way. And the Lions, to me, man, I mean, you look at some of their most impactful players and what they're getting paid, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And that gives you the ability to go out and sign a Cam Sutton or a David Montgomery. So kudos to Brad. The way he's been, and of course, Dan and the coaches for developing the players, that's just as important. But how Brad's been approaching this rebuild or restore, whatever you want to call it, it's been impressive. And there's a big reason why now the Lions have real expectations. It's the first time they've had it. I'm curious to see how they respond to it. But you want this type of pressure. And they're poised to go make a big jump this year to contend for the NFC North.
You know, I would rather have legitimate, not hope, not just blind hope. I would rather have legitimate hope and expectations and them fail than be expecting nothing. And again, I'm only 29 years old. Some of you in the chat are in your 40s, some of you in your 50s, some of you even later than that. And you've experienced the suck for much longer than I have. I have 2 years of where this team was actually a good football team in 29 years. I was born in 94. 0 division titles, 0 playoff games. They've never hosted a game at Ford Field. I'm not asking for a Super Bowl. I'm not. But let's be real here. How do you get to the Super Bowl more often than not? You're one of the 2-3 best teams in the conference. You host a playoff game or 2, and you get to the championship game, and if you're good enough, you get to host it. If you're not, you're on the road. But you're among one of the 3-4 best teams typically. And if you are, you win your division, which means, like I just said, you get to host a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's baby steps. We can say Super Bowl. Can they win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff? Fuck out of here.
Let's just get to the playoffs.
Let's just get to the playoffs.
Playoffs?
But not just get to the playoffs, because I also think that's flawed. I don't want to be the 9-8 team that just sneaks in a weak NFC conference. Who are you more optimistic for this morning? The New York Giants or the Detroit Lions? Honest to God. Do you love Brian Daboll? I don't blame any of you. I do too. But I'm not in love with Daniel Jones. And they got to fix that wide receiving core. And yeah, they added Darren Waller. But he's up there in age and he's been battling some injuries. Of course I'm more confident in the Lions project. Am I more confident in the Lions project than every project in the NFC at the moment? Outside of who? Philly and the Niners? Okay, bet. Sure. Do I prefer them over Dallas? Yeah, I do. I don't want to have Dak Prescott at $45 million a year. Yeah, I'll pass on that. Thank you very much. And I'd rather have Jared Goff than Dak Prescott. Yes. So sign me up. Yes. This, to me, is the 3rd best roster in the NFC. Rightfully so. They've built it the right way. And there was no excuse for them not to be good this year. And they were shit in the beginning. And then they got good down the stretch. And not just good, they played like a top 10 team down the stretch. There were only a handful of teams in the final 10 games that had a better record than them or as good.
Mm-hmm.
Only a handful. Some of them you saw in the Super Bowl. Some of them you saw in the conference title games. I would rather be legitimately optimistic and hopeful for this team than blindly. Like year 1 of Dan Campbell when I had to hear how they were going to win 10 games and it was a whole thing at the network. That's just blind hope. Brad Holmes has positioned your football team to have legitimate expectations with his front office, his coaching staff, and everything they've been doing. And the ultimate sign of this is a professional organization is when you let a guy like Jamal Williams likely leave, even though he's the heart, and on Hard Knocks everybody fell in love with him, and he cried. He cried, Adam. He should be part of here. He cried. Shut the fuck up. More than $6 million, kick rocks. David Montgomery coming to town. Younger, and I'll get 3 legit years out of him. I don't know if I can get 3 legit years out of Jamal Williams. Maybe he's got 1.5 left at most. Maybe he proves me wrong and he does go on and has a nice 2-3 year run.
But But it's not even about only the production; it's what you're paying him. So would you rather pay Montgomery less money, who's younger, almost just as durable, and you could argue a little more productive over his career? I don't know. Brad's.
I want to read a few comments before we get to
is.
the top of the hour. Jeb says, I'm 43 and it's been horrible, but it's getting better. I would agree. Excited for the draft, says Stoughton coach, because I believe all options are open. And the recent signings, just imagine this team and staff in a Hard Knocks season. That would be sweet. Yes, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to do it this year, but still, it's fun, man. Can we all agree? I'm not even going to say that. I'm sorry, Adam, but the fact that they didn't beat Carolina and New England still pisses me off. I agree. But New England, again, that's the coach's fault. And did he make amends? He made some amends for it. and you don't win 8 out of 10 games and go on the road and beat 2 New York teams that one of them made the playoffs, the other was on the cusp of making the playoffs in the AFC, the way you did, if he didn't make amends. And he has let go of staff when they've underperformed, something I've never seen in town with any of the coaches, whether Caldwell, Schwartz, or anybody else prior. I'm not saying he's perfect, and I'm not saying I'm completely sold on him. But I think he has also at least earned a fair shot to coach this year and develop and be better. And if they start 1-6 again, I'm going to lose my mind. Do I expect them to? No, I don't. But yes, I will lose my mind because it's unacceptable. You have one of the better teams in the NFC. Act like it. Play like it. You beat a playoff team in the Giants. You beat a playoff contender at the time in Green Bay that was going on a run twice. You beat Minnesota, who won the division. You beat the Jets, who were a playoff defense. Unfortunately, they had a disaster situation at quarterback. You beat those teams. You went toe-to-toe with the Bills on Thanksgiving, prime time. You showed me a lot. Is it a winning coach? Is it an excellent coach? I don't know yet. I don't know. And I won't lie to you and say I do. But let's take a break. When we get back, Calvin Johnson, his thoughts on Dan Campbell. We'll get to those next. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at Swiss Insurance.
Let me tell you about them. Our friends over at Swiss Insurance. Check them out this week for your commercial insurance review. Swiss can now make sure you have the proper coverage. Swiss Insurance. Give them a call and you won't be disappointed. Contact them. mark@swissins.com.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
Seafood Fest at Big Boy is officially back. Catch it while you can. Some favorites during Lent, like shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir fry, and the new fish sandwich. Get to your local Big Boy. And don't forget, the all-you-can-eat fish fry buffet on Friday nights.
All right, top of the hour, 9:02 here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. It's been a very, very, very good morning. I'm very happy. It's not often I get to say that, but hey, you know what? Sometimes life changes your mood every once in a while, for the good or the worse, who knows. But more importantly, Calvin Johnson went on ESPN earlier a few days ago and was having a conversation about his former teammate, who apparently played on one good shoulder for an entire season, even though they weren't a good team, and Dan Campbell, who's now the head coach of the Detroit Lions, obviously. And Calvin had some interesting comments, said he loves him, said he's a soldier, and he's excited with what's going on. So I don't fall, Jeff, for the former players are praising the current coach or regime. I've seen it all my life. To me, it means nothing, but it is Calvin Johnson at the end of the day. And there is nobody that would know this individual, meaning Dan Campbell, more than Calvin, considering he played with him.
Right.
Does Calvin know the coach? No, not so much, but he knows the player. And there are qualities that do translate. I really believe that. But I would at least say it's nice to hear. I don't think it's a definitive, this is going to work because Calvin Johnson said so. No, but at least, Jeff, you get a comment every once in a while that reinforces that, hey, at least he's, I don't want to say liked because I don't want my coaches to be liked. I want them to win. But
right.
There are at least some attributes, Jeff, you can point to and say he at least does that well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and again, I think Calvin, a lot of things that are similar in when he played versus what he's doing now as a coach, they're very similar. The leadership traits, who he is as a person, you could see right through Dan Campbell. I mean, he is what you see is what you get. He's a very real individual, and that's why players respect him. That's why players want to play for him. I can't help but read some of these comments too, because I know we're talking about Kelvin, but I got to address some of these comments from Brandon Katz, because I'm shocked people actually have this opinion. Brad Holmes, he said, quote, Brad Holmes is bad in free agency.
Why are you shocked?
Montgomery wasn't even the best running back in his own team. Montgomery is not worth close to $6 million per year. Detroit could have drafted a running back in the third round just as good as Montgomery.
Why are you surprised? When we started the season and the Lions were 1-6, it wasn't Dan Campbell's fault. All of you told me it was Brad Holmes' fault. Why are you shocked? I still think there is a minority of people that do think Brad Holmes hasn't done a good enough job and that he hasn't done a good job in free agency. But what I would say to that is, this is the first offseason that he's been able to make shrewd moves, legitimately, that improve the team. You cannot tell me that Emmanuel Mosley and Cam Sutton don't improve this team. You can't tell me that David Montgomery isn't an upgrade day one over Jamal Williams, let alone a third, fourth, or fifth round running back. Now, you know how I feel. I do think you can draft a fifth, sixth, seventh round running back and they can produce in the NFL. Case in point, look to last year only. Data points every year, but if you just want to use last year, Tyler Algier in the fifth round, Isaiah Pacheco in the seventh. You can do it.
You can.
I agree. But
if
again, who am I going to draft in the fifth round? Because I don't have a fourth round pick. Am I going to draft in the fifth round that's going to be better than David Montgomery day one? Mohamed Ibrahim? No. Chase Brown probably off the board in the third, fourth round.
Yeah, so
who am I real? Dwayne McBride?
If you're Brad, you'd think to yourself, let's roll into this season with DeAndre Swift, Craig Reynolds, and a rookie running back. Let's roll, boys. That's not how that works. I mean, especially you draft. I can't even rely on DeAndre Swift as it is. So if DeAndre's hurt, I got Craig Reynolds and Chase Brown. Like, I'll pass. I'm okay. I'll take David Montgomery, who's had at least 1,000 yards from scrimmage every year he's been in the league. What are we doing here?
Let me run this by you.
Let me give you a tip, too. To all people that are, look at a move that is made by, and this goes across all sports, let me give you an idea. Go check out the opposing fan base. Go check out their social media. Go check out when a guy like David Montgomery signs, go check out Bears Twitter and see how they feel about it. I'm telling you, that'll give you a different perspective because everyone the Lions have signed, Cam Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, David Montgomery, go check their fan base's social media. Everybody, number one, for David Montgomery, surprised he got that low of money and because he was one of the top free agent running backs available. So before you judge a move, go get a different perspective. Because
I got a better
even
perspective.
Cam Sutton, Steelers fans were livid.
I've got a better one, honestly. I do. And I don't mean to say it's better, but it is. How much did Christian McCaffrey make last year?
A lot of money.
Ran for 1,100 yards.
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook, a lot of money. One of the highest paid backs. Ran for 1,100 yards. David Montgomery's best season in the NFL was roughly almost 1,100 yards. He's coming off last year, 200 carries only for 800 yards, 4 yards a carry. Not the most impressive number, but when you look at Chicago's offensive line, well, it's pretty damn impressive, actually. And you look at David Montgomery. Well, he played and had almost the same amount of carries as Joe Mixon. What do you guys think of Joe Mixon? Good running back?
He's all right.
He averaged more yards a carry than Joe Mixon. And almost the same amount of yards last year. I think it's ludicrous to say it's a bad move or you overpaid. I don't think you overpaid. I think you paid for what you're getting. You're getting solid production at an affordable price in a contract where it's null and void basically after year one. Where you're not losing anything.
Yeah, it's
to me, it's a nothing investment, and you can still draft a running back. And in the event, likely, hopefully not, but likely that DeAndre Swift does go down, and you did draft a running back, they'll be able to go in with Craig Reynolds and showcase what they can do. And if they're very good, great, because you're not re-signing DeAndre Swift anyways. Even if he has a career year, which I doubt he does. Why am I upset? I don't think... To be honest, I don't think there is a reason to be upset. I've been told so often that Brad Holmes has, Trinity Benson trade was egregious. He hasn't signed anybody in free agency. He hasn't really had money, and he's positioned this team to have the highest salary cap, I believe, or top 3 next year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with that young core of players locked in for the foreseeable future. And yes, in a year, you're going to have to talk about Penei Sewell and re-signing him. And you're going to have to talk about, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he's going to get a pretty good contract if he keeps up this level of production. But that's just the NFL. You got to pay your players. And just like the Bengals, they had their run, they had their players. Jesse Bates has to go to Atlanta. Joe Mixon, I'm not sure what the future holds for him. That's just the reality. You're going to lose players, and you're going to keep players. And when you sign players to these non-long-term, non-committal deals, to me, that's a home run. It's just a home run. And when I don't have to overpay for a back, yeah, I feel really good about it. Is $6 million a lot for a backup running back? You could argue that.
But I don't
think he's a backup considering you have DeAndre Swift on this football team, and he's lucky to give you 10, 11, 12 games.
He can do more. Number one, he's a 3-down back. I mean, that we'll start there. But number 2, what he can do on the receiving side of things is much more value than what Jamal could do. Love Jamal, but he's not a guy you're lining up, catching balls out of the backfield consistently or lining up in the slot. David Montgomery's kind of proven he can do that. He's just an all-around rep. And like I said, at least 1,000 yards from scrimmage the last handful of years. He's a weapon. So you're not just paying for what he could do running the football, you're also paying for what he could do in the passing game as well. So I don't mind it. If you want to draft a running back still, that's fine. I don't hate it. Go out and draft a Dwayne McBride or whoever, but signing David Montgomery to have a veteran, somebody you can trust and somebody you can rely on, is important. Because if you go into the season with DeAndre Swift and Chase Brown, you're in a sticky situation. Now you have a rookie and DeAndre who can't stay healthy, and Craig Reynolds. Like, I want somebody I can depend on. David Montgomery is that guy. If you want Jamal Williams, you'd have to pay more for him. So I'm paying less for a younger running back who's more explosive, who has more missed tackles than most running backs in the league. It's a pretty good deal. So, again, love the signing itself. With behind this offensive line, too, I mean, either of these guys are going to play much, much better. So I don't mind it. Now David Montgomery gets to torch the Bears twice a year. I'm all for it. No complaints from me. And I love these.
You guys ever wanted an insight on what's going on here?
Oh, geez, look at this.
This is how you correctly light a charcoal. So you can get absolutely blasted on your show and nobody can tell you fucking shit. It's a great feeling, by the way. What, are we just not going to talk anymore? What's going on here?
Well, Adam's over there fixing his hookah, and I'll just read some of these comments because I'm just going through them. They're all funny to me. Joey says, wrong, Brandon. Montgomery is a 40-plus catch running back. Stop talking. Paul Johnson says, Jahmyr Gibbs in the 2nd or 3rd round and trade Swift. Okay. I don't mind that at all.
Okay, can I ask something while I light this hookah? Anybody? If you were an NFL GM and I was the owner and you went and traded anything for DeAndre Swift, I would whip out a ruler stick and beat the living shit out of you.
Oh, ruler
so
stick.
As if you would actually trade DeAndre Swift. Kick rocks. It's not happening. Nobody wants him.
IT Hip says, do we know for a fact that Jamal asked for more money? Yeah, it was reported. Like the Lions, they said, here's what we're offering you. Jamal said, well, here's what I want. They weren't close on a deal. Lions pivoted, went after David Montgomery. Like that, it was as easy as that. And I think that's savvy as a businessman. Not to sit there and wait for Jamal. Like, okay, Jamal, if you're not taking the offer we're giving you, we'll move on. It's not that hard. And I respect that Brad had the ability to do that and not be like, all right, Jamal, what do you want? We'll give it to you. And simp for these guys. Like Brad Holmes, love it. I love it. It's good business. Chuck says that's dead on, Adam. Folks don't grasp. It takes 2 teams to make a trade. Absolutely it does.
I thought it only took 1. What do I guess someday to eat around
Brandon
here.
Katz says Herbert averaged a full yard per carry more than Montgomery over the last 2 years.
It's great.
What was the attempts, though?
That's
like,
great.
How many
I don't
attempts
care.
more did whatever. It's not a big deal.
Moving on. I want to hit around the NFL coming up in a bit. I also want to get to the Aaron Rodgers stuff at 9:30. And you know what? Phone lines are open. 313-562-6322. Is that the number? Did I get it right? It's been a minute since I've been on the show.
552-6322?
552. I apologize. 552-6322. That's the number. Michael, if you don't mind, pin it in the chat, please, or Jeff. Either of you. I don't care. 313-552-6322. Call in. We would like your opinion on what's going on. I would like your thoughts on the Cam Sutton, David Montgomery, Emmanuel Mosley signing. I would like all of your thoughts. And if you want to include some draft stuff, be my guest. But today I would like to focus on the signings and re-signings. So the phone lines are open. Shoot us a call. Jeff and I will answer. We'll get to all that and more coming up next. But before we go, Jeff, I got to tell everybody at home about our good friends over at Planet Fitness. Sign up today. Get to the gym. What are you waiting for? I've been doing it now for 3 straight weeks. Sign up, $10 a month. Your fitness is essential. Planet Fitness. Whether you go and sign up locally at any Planet Fitness near you or at planetfitness.com, make sure you do it. Let them know I sent you. And then who knows? Who knows? Maybe they'll be intimidated. I don't know. Sign up. Get to the gym. Change your life. What are you waiting for, guys? We'll be right back.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Oh yeah, Woodwardsports.com, Home Bracket Challenge, Gardner White, you heard about it too? Be on the way like me, Lazy Boy section. It's this way. It's almost tournament time, so you know what that means. Go to Woodwardsports.com, sign up now for the Bracket Challenge, because you might be able to win some of these Lazy Boys or $1,000. You never know. I'm just saying. See you there. Gardner White, the only local Michigan furniture store. You got to come check them out. Lazy Boy, that's my section.
Oh, yeah, baby. We're back. We're alive. Woodwardsports.com. Jeff Iafrate smoking to my left. It's a good morning. It's a good morning. Is your mom okay with this, by the way?
Shut up. You ass.
Oh, goodness me.
All right.
Sorry, Jeff. I love you, buddy. Can't help it. I'm an asshole. It's in my DNA. It's in my DNA. I hope you're all having a great morning. I hope you're having as good of a morning as I am. Here's what I want to do. All right, we got some callers coming up in a little bit. Before we get to the callers, free agency. All right, this is what I want you to call in for. This is what I want you to talk about. I want your thoughts and opinions. If you have any questions, feel free to ask myself and Jeff. The number is pinned on the chat, 313-552-6322. Give us a call. It's been a minute since I've taken callers on the show. It's been a minute. So,
I love taking callers, man.
I do miss and kind of not miss talking to you guys. I mean, it just depends on what you're gonna say. But if you don't mind, JB, who do we got on the line? Who's the first person we're going to?
JB Smooth.
All right, I'm gonna send you guys Mike right now.
All right, Mike, you're on the Morning Woodward Show. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
What up, Mike?
Awesome. What's up, guys? How's things?
Dude, we're doing well.
Never better.
This is a great morning. I appreciate your comments and thoughts. Listen, I was kind of shocked at the Montgomery thing, but honestly, if Jamal, he's been playing the PR, he's been doing the shows, trying to build value for himself, and I do wish him well, but if we would have paid more than that for him, that would have been a huge mistake, period. Yeah. Love him. Thank you very much. I think, free agency, the cornerbacks were great. I like everything. I question the Anzalone number, but, I mean, hey, Levante David's still out there. So my question for you guys is, can we still get Levante or Wagner? Is that even a possibility, or are we out?
The money can be there if Brad chooses to make it happen. There's some cuts that need to happen, but I do think it's possible. I just don't think it's going to happen, Mike. I'm really happy, though, that you share a similar thought on the Jamal Williams thing. It's not the end of the world. David Montgomery's a good decision. I have no issue with it at all. Regarding Levante David or, who are we talking about? Linebacker, Rams. Bobby Wagner.
Yep, Bobby Wagner.
Look, ideally, I would love for that. But to me, when they went out and got Emmanuel Mosley, what are you going to sign Bobby Wagner to? He left basically a 3-year deal. He's going to want some money, I would imagine, or he's going to want to go to a legit contender in the AFC or NFC. I don't know. So would I like it to happen, Mike? I would. Do I think it's going to happen? I wouldn't put anything past Brad Holmes. Jeff?
I agree with everything you said. how Brad's approached it, I'm cool with it. The Levante David thing to me, too, I doubt it. I don't think there's another linebacker, especially Bobby Wagner. Those are my two guys I wanted, but now with the resigning of Anzalone, you probably draft a linebacker, to be honest with you, Adam. I don't think you go out and sign another one, but we'll see. Money can be created. You just got to find a way to do it. Good general managers will do it.
Fair enough. Mike, appreciate the call this morning, buddy. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, I was kind of zoning out because I'm thinking of the dude who almost just walked in our studio.
Some dude was just spraying perfume all around.
Yeah, it looked like a crackhead. So,
dude. Wow, I wasn't even going to say that.
I'm keeping it 100. Like, I wouldn't trust the man. But anyway, moving on. JB, send it through.
I'm going to send you guys Carl. Here's Carl for you guys.
All right, Carl, what do you got for us, buddy? Good morning.
Hey, guys. Good morning. So jealous about the hookah ammunition. I'm calling from Florida where that's kind of illegal. But anyway, I'm happy with the free agent signings. Man, they look great. Grabbing two corners was awesome. Montgomery's going to be sweet for us. And I think they're probably done. I'm hoping they grab a couple big O-linemen in the draft and a linebacker and go from there. Anyway, I'll jump off and listen to you guys.
Appreciate the call, Carl. Appreciate it.
They're all echoing pretty much the same sentiments. Like they agree. Like I agree with everything the caller just said too. Number one, appreciate the call, but Jamal Williams, the deal.
Everybody is going to be on the same page.
Yes.
In this town, moving forward. That's what I opened the show with, and that's why I said what I said. If there was ever a time to legitimately, put your arm around this team, it's this year. Whether or not they live up to expectations is not your problem or my problem. That is their job to fulfill. But they're making some really good moves, man. I am enjoying the living hell out of this hookah. Who, by the way, guys, I almost 6 years ago moved to Miami, and I was going to start selling hookahs on the beach. That was a thing I was legitimately considering at 21 years old.
Someone commented, said you look like a highway patrol officer. And honestly, they're kind of spot on.
Look, I'll pull you over. I'll ask you if you smoke. If you say, yes, sir, I smoke hookah, I will let you off with a pass. And no problem. No problem. You have a good rest of your day, sir. Thank you very much. JB, who do we got?
All right, we got Dez next. Here's Dez for you guys.
Dez Bryant?
It might be.
Dez, what's going on, man?
What's up, Dez?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I'm a huge fan of the show.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I was just, I think that the David Montgomery pickup was really good, and then also with the Cam Sutton, because I know they were trying, I think the Lions were trying to get Jalen Ramsey, but, he was going towards Miami more of the way.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what do you guys think, the Lions should move going forward? Who do you think else they should look for in free agency? And, who would you like to see them pick up with their draft picks?
Would love to see in free agency Levante David or Bobby Wagner. I don't know how legitimate that is. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
I actually have zero pulse on the linebacking situation. What I do know is Anzalone is here. Malcolm Rodriguez is going to continue to develop. Do I think they're both superstar linebackers? No, I don't. Do I think Jack Campbell would be an ideal situation at 48? I would love to see that. But to me, I don't know, actually. And I think that's the beauty, is there's a lot of what-ifs, what can happen. Do I think Jack Campbell's the cream of the crop among linebackers in this draft? I do. Can you afford him at 48? I hope, but God, he keeps shooting up boards. He's going to go 37, 38, 39 probably. So, Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the wide receiver spot is something I'm looking at because DJ Chark, the news, I mean, if you look at the wide receivers and the free agents, DJ Chark, you can make a legitimate argument, is one of the best free agents available. I don't know what they're going to do or how they're going to replace him. So I would say wide receiver, interior defensive line, which they could address through the draft, and then linebacker, to Adam's point. And you need another safety. Deshaun Elliott doesn't look like he's coming back. We'll see. Hopefully he can. But I would say safety, wide receiver, and interior defensive line. That's the three things I'm looking at, whether they address it in free agency or through the draft. They got to fill those holes.
Appreciate it, Des. Thanks for calling, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah, appreciate the call,
Anytime, man. We got to do calls more, man. We really do.
Yeah, we do.
I do miss talking to all of you. I take back what I said.
And I love all the listeners
I was
because
just annoyed.
For 99% of the time, the Morning Woodward Show audience, they come correct when they call. And that's one thing I can appreciate You might hear some bickering here and there, but for the most part, those guys come with facts.
JB, we got a few minutes. I haven't gotten your thoughts on the signings. David Montgomery, Cam Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley. What do you think, man?
Every single one of those are upgrades from what the Lions have right now. And I respect the moves that Brad Holmes is making. I have no complaints about this. I really don't. Now, I know it's sad that we're going to miss Jamal Williams, but as you said, your time here in Detroit, you served it well. We appreciate everything you've done, but now it's time to move on. You gotta separate.
Thank you for saying that, because I want you and everybody at home to think of Jamal Williams and the Lions situation with David Montgomery. I want you to look at it the way Leonardo DiCaprio looks at dating women, right?
Oh, okay.
He only dates young supermodels. So you got the same production, basically, with a guy that's much younger. Yeah, sign me up, man. I only want to date young women. That's my policy.
Okay.
I'm only fucking young women. That's my MO. Leave me alone. You're past 30, I gotta dump you. I'm sorry. According to Leo, I think it's like 25 years old, and
yeah, well, his
he's
is getting
done.
younger and younger. It seems like. So I don't know what's going.
He can.
I don't know what Leo's doing.
Maybe not the best example, but to me that was perfect.
But I get where you were going. Brad Holmes, he went younger, and especially at the running back position, it's the way to go. JB, send him through.
All right, here's Christian for you guys.
All right, Christian, you're on the morning show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Hey guys, good morning. Big fan of your show. First off.
Yeah. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Just wanted to say, looking at like our team, huge fan of the signings. Trust in Brad Holmes fully, like me myself. Do you think we should be going towards like maybe a safety, or like Brian Branch, for example, is like a prospect that I've like loved in the draft process so far. So do you think he would be a great fit in Detroit? Maybe re-signing Deshaun Elliott should be a priority, or anything of that sort?
I think feeling out Deshaun's price is important, because I like Deshaun. You saw the impact when he wasn't on the field last year. So I like him, but again, like Brad Holmes does, how he approaches free agency is at what price? If Deshaun Elliott's asking for too much money, then through the draft is the way to go, and I'm with you. I think Brian Branch, to me, you could argue the best secondary, I would say safety in the draft. You could line him up in a lot of different ways. He can play slot. He's just so versatile. And again, Adam always brings it up, coached by Nick Saban. Those guys are usually built different. So I'm with you. I like Brian Branch, and if you can't get him, you could get a Sidney Brown in the third round, which I like him a lot. So I'm with you. You got to take a safety. They need a safety to replace Deshaun Elliott, and as much as I like Deshaun Elliott, I'm not overpaying for him.
I love it. Appreciate the call, Christian. Well done, buddy.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Brian Branch is the man.
Look, Brian Branch is interesting. I'm not going to lie. I do like the player.
It's like a jack of all trades. It's like a Swiss Army knife.
He talked about Deshaun Elliott. It's a first-round pick, Jeff, and I'm looking for immediate 80% share of snaps right away. Can he do that? I like to think Tracy Walker, Kirby Joseph is a good tandem. I don't know if that is a need day one, but again, his skill set does allow you to be a little flexible with him. But again, draft talk, we have all of the draft talk coming up from now till April 28th. I'm very happy with what's happening. I told you today's a great day. It is a great day because you get to watch your football team for the first time. And again, I'm only going to speak on my lifetime. Yes, in the late 80s, early 90s, they were pretty good at acquiring players. Let's not lie. But I wasn't alive, so I don't really give a shit. And they didn't win anything, to be honest with you, so I don't care. To me, this is the buildup of what could be a winning, successful football team for a good 5-year window where money really isn't going to be an issue here. It really isn't going to be an issue. And on top of that, add in the future, let's say you do move off Goff, which is your right. Well, then the money just extends even longer because you're not paying Jared Goff 30, 35, 40 million in the near future. Again, I don't know what his market value is going to be. Maybe they're able to re-sign him on a 3-year, $120 million. I don't know. And I don't want to go down that route right now because it's not relevant. I have him for 2 years, and I don't have to address his situation anytime soon. Let's take a break. When we get back, we'll go around the league. But first, we'll start with Aaron Rodgers. Going on Pat McAfee later today. Expecting him to make the announcement. He's probably going to go to the Jets. Alan Lazard already in New York.
Who?
I brought this up yesterday.
Who gives a damn?
I do. Because it means 2 things for the Lions and 1 thing for the Jets. And there's only one ultimatum. And I really think it's relevant.
He's a Jet.
We'll get to that coming up next. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Cousins Maine Lobster. Go to cousinsmainelobster.com. Find out where their food trucks are and treat yourself on a celebratory Wednesday to some beautiful lobster tacos, clam chowder soup, also a personal favorite of mine. What are you waiting for? Go to Cousins Maine Lobster today. Try them out. Let them know Adam Beydoun sent you from Woodward Sports Network, and we'll be right back.
You're about to be shell-shocked. The catch of the day is in. Big Boy Seafood Fest is officially back. Join us for some of your favorites like our popcorn shrimp and pike perch platters and our classic fish and chips. This year, we've reeled in some fresh catches like our shrimp Alfredo, shrimp stir fry, and our fish sandwich. And especially, don't forget about our all-you-can-eat Friday night fish fry buffet. Every day is a fish fry at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. People on Woodward beeping like a bunch of jackasses because they don't know how to drive here in Michigan, but what can you do? You live where you live, people. It's part of the business, right? Here's what we're going to do. We'll take some calls coming up. I do see all of you on hold on the lines. Give us a few minutes. I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers for just a quick hot second. 2 things, really 3. 2 things that impact the Lions with this move. 1 that impacts the Jets. We'll start with the Jets. I don't like the move. I don't love it. I get why they're going to want to do it. They're all in. They have the defense to be a contender. But Aaron, to me, is not somebody I sell the franchise for. I don't know what he'll cost. That's still up in the air. Is it going to be multiple first-round picks? I would be shocked. I wouldn't be willing to give up 1, let alone 2. But, again, the market's the market. The Jets are desperate. So, at the end of the year, I do expect Robert Saleh to get fired. I'm going to stay true to that, as much as that hurts me to say, because I do like the guy a lot. You can't mess up at the quarterback position. Him and Joe Douglas. When you draft Zach Wilson your first year and it doesn't work, not many GMs, let alone head coaches, can survive a quarterback not working drafted that high. It just doesn't happen.
It sets you back. And now, even if you get an Aaron Rodgers and let's say they win 9-10 games, there is no way in hell the Jets are doing anything significant in the postseason, considering who else is in the AFC. It's just not happening. I'm sorry. You could say Aaron Rodgers with that defense, with Breece Hall, those weapons. Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'm good. I don't think the Jets are a serious Super Bowl threat with Aaron Rodgers, but they do get better. So there's 2 ways to look at this. The Jets, they kind of have to do this. Like you said, they're all in. They're primed with that defense, with Breece coming back, with the weapons they have. Aaron Rodgers makes the most sense. But what does it do for him? Is the question.
Well, here's the thing. Here's how it affects the Lions. Let's say they do send a first and a future 2 and some 4s. I don't know. Let's just say they get a decent trade package for Aaron Rodgers. If there's one thing I will never do is dumpster or shit on the Green Bay front office. Because for my lifetime, they've always found ways to upgrade their team, be shrewd and, I would say, a little cheap and not daring enough, considering they went from Brett Favre Hall of Fame quarterback to Aaron Rodgers Hall of Fame quarterback, which ironic they've both played for the Jets at the end of their career, but whatever. To me, what it does for the Lions is it puts the Packers in a retool/rebuild mode, and that's just good news for the Lions. And yeah, now Aaron Rodgers is out of the division, which means you can definitively say, given those who like Aaron Rodgers, that Jared Goff is the best quarterback in the North. So I think it holds some weight. But, JB, let's go to the people. Who do we got on the line?
All right, I'm going to send you guys Bart right now.
All right, Bart, you're on the morning show. Good morning, buddy. What do you got for us?
Hey, how you doing today?
Always good, always good.
Hey, real quick, have you guys taken a look at who the Lions has visited with at the pro days or the combos?
Not everyone, no.
Okay. There's a few names on there that have of interest. A guard from USC or Moa. There's the the guy, the linebacker from Texas.
Overshawn from Texas. Yep.
Yep. Robinson from Florida State safety. Hooker at the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
So a few interesting names. But the one thing that I like about, I want to be surprised if Brad makes a trade up to get Anderson, with Arizona. It's something that when he has a guy on his board, he's been known to go after him. And can you imagine Anderson on this team?
I can imagine. I think it's not a concern, Bart, because I don't really have concerns with Brad Holmes, but how do you trade up to 3 in a market where the Colts are sitting at 4 and the Cardinals are going to be leveraging that pick? If you're going to trade up 3 spots, I would imagine it's going to cost you probably 18. I don't think you get to move in the top 3 of this draft without giving up a 1, so it wouldn't...
What if you trade 2 3s to 1 and Swift?
I would at that point just give up 48 and a future 3 and maybe a 2 3s. I don't know. To me at that point, it doesn't really matter to me, as long as I don't have to give up a 1. But to get Will Anderson, yeah, I mean, come on, we're talking about the best defensive lineman coming out of this draft. It's been poised now. He's been the poster boy for 2 years. He would have gone top 5 last year had he come out.
And if you're Jonathan Gannon and he's there, you're taking him.
Like, to me, I don't know what Arizona's doing, though. I don't. I don't have a pulse on what they want to do, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I do. Do I think the Colts want to ensure they get their guy? Yeah, but now that Carolina traded, it kind of fucks up the whole market because Carolina's taking a quarterback. Houston's going to take a quarterback. So sitting at 3, who's trading up to 3? Atlanta's not doing it anymore. So who's trading up? The Raiders? Well, the Raiders just signed Jimmy G, so that's not happening anymore. To me, I think there is no trade partner for the Cardinals, let alone the Lions anymore. So I would be shocked. Maybe that works in favor of the Lions and they don't have to give up a 1. Maybe Bart. But I would love it, to answer your question.
Yeah,
I'm all on board with Will
And it's
Anderson.
very Brad Holmes-esque, Bart. So I'm with you there.
There's one other one that I would propose. Since Philly lost their defensive tackle, if Carter wounds up with us, at 6, we trade back with Philly. They take Carter. Then we can take Clancy at 10 and have more draft capital either for this year or for next year with Philly because, Philly just lost a key element to their team. And I would rather have Clancy than Carter from the film that I've watched personally.
Well, that's a tough spot for me because my heart is on Clancy. I doubt Holmes would pass on a talent like Carter, but I'm on board. I don't think there's many trade partners now that Carolina did what they did. Vegas addressed the quarterback position. Atlanta addressed it by getting Heineke. Whether that's their long-term solution, it doesn't matter to me. I doubt they're spending a top 10 pick on a quarterback in Vegas or Atlanta. So we'll see, Bart. But I appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Take care, buddy. JB, interesting, huh? Will Anderson, 3rd overall. That would be quite the move. I've heard people suggest the Lions should do that for Carter as well.
But if you're Arizona, like J.J. Watt just retired, you need an edge.
You hired a defensive coach.
You hired a defensive coach. Like, that makes too much sense for them to pass on Will Anderson. I could see a scenario where the Lions don't even have to trade up. They stay at 6, and Jalen Carter falls to them. So I'll take that scenario over trading a bunch of assets to 3 to maybe take a Will Anderson, even though I love Will Anderson. It's just... I don't know. It doesn't sound likely to me. But Brad Holmes, he's shown he'll chase guys if he wants them. So.
In the NFL today, and this is only over the last 3 years I can say this. I can't go further back than that. I think it would be irresponsible. But for the last 3 years in the NFL, interior pass rush has never been more important. And you're seeing it. Yeah, everybody wants a Micah Parsons and a TJ Watt. Those are the anomalies. I mean, they're some of the greatest pass rushers in the NFL. That's why you draft an Aiden Hutchinson. But, like I mentioned earlier, there's no more frustrating situation to be in as a quarterback. It's not your blind spot that you're worried about. Yeah, that's where disaster can happen. You take a shot, you fumble the ball. But when you're trying to throw the ball, you want to step into your throw. And when you have a pass rush in your face, it becomes very difficult. You throw off platform, you throw on the back of your foot, and that's where mistakes and turnovers can happen. To me, I I disagree with a lot of people on this. I think Elijah Cansey, Jalen Carter both provide that. Cansey more on the pass rushing side. I don't see it as a reach. Sign me up on the interior. Get good at the defensive line. That's how you become one of the 5, 6, 7 best teams in the NFL. But we'll take a break. We'll get to some more calls coming out of the break. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you can pay $120 for a lane reservation up to 10 people. $2 mystery beer machine, full bar. Check it all out, fullingwarehouse.com.
Oh, yeah, baby. We're back here on the Morning Woodward Show, live, woodwardsports.com. Adham, Beydoun, Jeff, Iafrate, as always. On a beautiful Wednesday morning, post the Lions going out and getting more players, Emmanuel Mosley, David Montgomery. Are there more moves you can expect? Maybe. But at the end of the day, here you go, Jeff. I know you're an addict. Come here. It's all good. It's all good.
Keep talking.
You don't have to hide it.
Keep talking.
On a day where you go out and acquire more players, is there more movement? We'll see. I think some players do have to get cut. Aquara comes to mind for me. And when you have picks 6, 18, 48, 55, when you have that much talent in the first 2 rounds, you can afford to let go of a guy that's been unavailable for the most part. Hasn't been available for 2 years. You know what? Time to make a move, get younger. I'm excited for what the future holds. But, JB, let's go to the phone lines. Who do we got coming up?
All right, I'm going to send you guys Mike.
Mike, all right. Mike, you're on the morning show. What do you got, buddy?
Morning, guys. How you guys doing today?
Always good, man. Always good.
Good. I'm very pleased with the way how he's been handling this. I have absolutely no issue with his signings. Yes, it's bad to see Williams go, but ultimately, hey, next man up, you know? And this opens the draft wide open for us, which is exactly what we needed. We're not locked into just taking a cornerback now. We're not locked into just taking a running back. You know, it really opens it up for us, and I'm excited to see what he does with it. You know, I was talking to Jeff last week. My only concern really with the draft and upcoming drafts is how many first-round picks we've had, because at some point we're going to have to pay those guys, you know, 3-4 years down the line. But ultimately right now, go for it, man.
That's the luxury you have, though, Mike, right? You've done well in the draft. Look at the Bengals. Nobody wants to lose Jesse Bates. Nobody wants to lose some of the premier defensive talent they have. But you don't have a choice. 1, when you pay your quarterback, and 2, when you have some of the weapons they do have, which is Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. It just adds up, man. When you invest in the offensive line the way they did to protect Burrow, that's just what happens. So you know what? I can imagine 4 years, 3 years from now, we're having conversations about really good players leaving Detroit. But I would hope by then you had either A, accomplished a lot and you're really happy about what the team has done, or B, you have a rookie quarterback and you actually don't have to lose those players because you now have him locked up for 5 years and you don't have to worry about too much money going around the cap room.
And with the exception of, you know, 2 or 3 core players, Panay, Amon-Ra, and hopefully a future quarterback, you know, I don't mind him going because the way he's drafting, you're going to have next man up replacing him. I'm very pleased with the way how he's handling this team right now. And, you know, like I've told you before, I'm 50 years old. I've never, even in the 80s, they've never handled it this way. You know, they let the center go that was Barry's favorite, and that's one of the reasons he retired, and they never handled the team the way they are now, and it makes me so happy. My dad still won't watch them because he's so sickened from them. You know, he's in his 70s, and he doesn't ever remember when they were good.
God bless him, man.
I mean, for me, you know, I cannot wait, and I can't wait to look at them and say, come watch them. They're going to win this year for once.
You know, Mike,
we're going to be in the playoffs.
You hit on something that's like very personal to me. My dad is very much the same way. He does still watch. My dad is in love with the Lions, but he's kind of grown into the, you know, he's kind of sick of it. You know, he wants to see a winner, but he's not fully invested. And for me, like, the best thing I could ever do for him is take him to Ford Field for a playoff game. Wouldn't that be awesome? So I can imagine there's thousands of people like you, myself, that, hey, man, I would love to take my dad, who's 55, and take him to a Lions game in January, and it's a playoff game, and maybe they, dare I say, win it.
It would be awesome. I mean, he sneaks looks. You know, he says, oh, I don't ever watch him. But, you know, you'll catch him sneaking looks or whatever. He still follows them. And I can't wait for that day where I can look at him and say, we made the playoffs. We actually won a playoff game. We have a potential for a Super Bowl. I mean, that,
100%,
you know, as a father-son deal, I mean, that just hits you. And I'm so excited that we have Brad here doing what he's doing to get us there. I hope Campbell's the coach. Like you said, you know, it's still out on whether he is or not. I really hope he is. But, you know, if not, I also have the faith that, because Brad didn't hire him, Brad will hire somebody that is.
You know, and that's such a great point, Mike. And I love that you said, I hope he works out, because that's the consensus. Everybody wants him to work. They hope he works. But Brad Holmes making all these moves and drafting so well, it does put the pressure on Campbell. He's got to go out and deliver. He's got to go compete and win the division. He's got to go win a playoff game in the next 2 years. Like, that needs to happen. And if he doesn't, okay, fine. It didn't work. But you also have a GM who you would trust to hire.
Now that he's got talent, there's no excuses for the timing mistakes that he made. Yes, let's hope that they draft that kicker. But, you know, even if they don't, go out and get one. And so he has no excuses. You either do it or you don't.
100%. I appreciate the call, Mike. Thank you so much, man. Have a good morning.
Have a great day.
Yep. JB, very interesting comment. I don't know about all of you in the chat, but I think this father-son relationship is probably more relevant than people even acknowledge. It is personal for me. Like, I have really good friends of mine whose fathers are approaching, you know, Alzheimer's, and you know, it's tough right now for them personally, and there's nothing they would love to do more than to take their father to a playoff game. Like, that's like on bucket list for a lot of the friends I have. And you know what, man? When you have a team operating the way they are, you can't help but feel really good about it.
Especially when, even my dad, he's 60 years old, you can tell him about the Red Wings, the Pistons, the Tigers. He does not give a damn. He is the ultimate die-hard Lions fan, no matter how much disappointment they've brought him over the years. And that's why even Terry, Uncle T, always says, this is a football town. Despite what's happened, hockey town, and you know, the Pistons winning in 04, in the late 80s, doesn't matter. It's a football town. And even my dad, I mean,
you look at Boston.
Doesn't give a damn what any other sports team's doing but the Lions.
You look at Boston.
Yeah.
The Bruins and their cups.
Yep.
The Red Sox and their championships. It doesn't come anywhere close to the New England dynasty. It doesn't. Football is always king. And when the football team is relevant, the sports town is lit. Now, don't get me wrong. I would love to go to a baseball game in July, August, and the Tigers are competing for the Central. Don't get me wrong. Would I love to see the Wings in the playoffs this year? Yes, I doubt it. But next year, I would imagine they're probably going to be there. Love playoff hockey in Motown. Nothing better. But there is something to the Lions being good, is something people have been waiting literally all their lives for. And they're approaching being that good. There is no excuse, in my opinion. And I'm going to repeat the same sentiment after the draft, because I know Brad Holmes is going to do work there too. There is no excuse for the Lions not to go out and win the division this year. We'll take a break. When we get back, All of you in the chat, all of you watching at home, you know what to do. Drop your questions in the chat. Jeff and I will answer all of them. We'll get to as many as we can. But before we go, I got to tell you about my good friends over at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. An award-winning haircut from one of the most amazing stylists you will ever have. Check out any Lady Jane's. They're all overqualified, in my opinion. They're all phenomenal. And check them out. They'll take care of you like they take care of me. Get to a Lady Jane's near you. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in Downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Hey, you see me enjoying this recliner? A lazy boy recliner, that is? Oh man, we are trying to hook you up with a couple of these for your home Woodward Sports Bracket Challenge, and also maybe $1,000 too. Sound bad, right? Got couch like this, some chips, $1,000, couple lazy boys, huh? Woodward Sports Bracket Challenge, man. Join us today.
We are back live here on the Morning Woodward Show, woodwardsports.com, 9:50 down the stretch here. Final 10 minutes of the show. It's mailbag time. We'll get to all of your questions. So, Jeff, let's start with Michael Lucius. He asks, will you question Holmes if Carter is available at 6 and the Lions pass on him? Well, that's a big if, because one, I don't think he'll do it, but if he does, who does he pass on him for, right? Does he pass on him for a quarterback? I'd be shocked. I'd be questioning it. Would he pass on him for Kalijah Kancey? I don't hate that. Again, I would be shocked, but I love the player, so I don't really have an issue with it, right? Now, does he pass on him for Lucas Van Ness or Tyree Wilson if Tyree Wilson's available? I'm not sure how I feel about that. It's tough to question a GM who's always made the right decision in the draft, especially in the first round. He has not yet missed on a first-round draft pick. It's tough for me to question him, but I would definitely ask questions. I just doubt they pass on Jalen Carter. I just doubt it.
And I want to say this, too, before we even move on to any questions, because we're getting to the end of the show, and I want to say this now, because you have a lot of people tuning in live. If you haven't already, you need to do the bracket challenge in Detroit for us with Woodward Sports Gardner White. If you go to woodwardsports.com, I just put the link in the chat, and you check out the bracket challenge. It's free, 100% free to sign up. You're entered to potentially win one of 3 prizes. If you get first place, you get $1,000 and 2 Lazy Boy recliners. Second place is $500 in a Lazy Boy recliner. Third place is a Lazy Boy recliner. And again, special thank you to Rachel Tronstein Stewart, the president of Gardner White, for making this happen. We're going to go to mailbag, but I just wanted to bring that up to you guys. If you haven't already, enter. I dropped the link, Woodward Sports, in the chat thread. Go do it. It's free to sign up, and you could win $1,000 and 2 Lazy Boy chairs. So go have it. Just wanted to bring that up before we move on to questions, because I
am not confident in my bracket, by the way.
Oh, nobody
I
is.
have to revisit my bracket. Looking back at it, I'm probably going to have Alabama out in the second round. I just don't think. I just don't believe in it. I don't. This happens every year, and we try to think this year's going to be different, when in reality it's actually not. Every year, the top 2-3 players that are on collegiate teams rarely make a Sweet 16, let alone Elite 8 or Final 4 run. It just rarely ever happens. Brandon Miller, Alabama, probably going home. That's one of my early picks. I have to revisit my board and make some changes, but let's get to mailbag. Adam, are you ready for Michigan State basketball game against USC? I am excited for it. I can't wait. I have Michigan State going semi-far. I do have them getting out of the first round and beating USC. I won't divulge anything after that. I don't think they make a Final 4 run, let alone an Elite 8 run. I think Duke, probably the team to beat in that side of the bracket, but the hell do I know? It's college basketball. Who even pays attention during the season? It's all about filling out a bracket and having fun with the boys. Nobody cares. Moving on, I agree about Montgomrey. An upgrade in terms of receiving and youth as well. Good 2 steps ahead or excuse me, a good 2 steps ahead move by Brad Holmes, says DeMario. Jamcat asks, do you think Charles Harris taking a $3 million pay cut means we are signing another free agent? Who do you want?
Deshaun Elliott. That's the one you got to sign. If you can't get him, you got to address it. Or a safety in general. But
well,
safety
you can draft
to me,
one.
Yeah, you could. Or you could draft, I guess, wide receiver or safety.
Because you can draft one in the 3rd round if you wanted to at 81.
And same with a wide receiver. So
and the name, not trying to sound like a stooge, but the name always brought up at 81 right now is Jamie Robinson.
Yeah.
So take that for what it's worth. We had the same conversation about Kirby Joseph last year. So
safety, wide receiver. Those are the 2 guys, 2 positions they got to fill.
All right. Any chance we could get Carter at 6 and then maybe trade up to get Cansey?
No, I don't want.
I mean, you could. Why
Yeah.
couldn't you? You could trade up from 18 to 12 or 13 if you wanted to.
You could, but taking Carter and Cansey, hell no. I'm okay with that.
I mean, I think it's a bit much. I would rather go interior and edge, but you know, just
take 2 interior
in
defensive
theory you
linemen.
could.
Yeah, you could.
You could.
I just wouldn't do it.
Who do you think wins the NASCAR race in Atlanta? Asks James. Well, James, I don't know if you know this, but I don't and never will watch NASCAR. Nor will I ever acknowledge a race on the show. That's probably all you're going to get out of me. So who are we drafting now, especially with the 4 picks, asks Alvin. Jeff?
What was the question? Who are they drafting with the first 4 picks?
Who do you draft with the first 4 picks now that they've signed all these players?
Well, a lot of different scenarios. A ton of different scenarios. You could do...
Board's open.
So if I go positions, first 4 picks, it should be defensive line, corner, or edge, depending on what you do with 18. If you go corner at 18, then you go edge at 48, and then that last pick's got to be a safety. So I would say defensive lineman, interior, corner, edge or linebacker, and then safety. You could go linebacker. You could try and trade up and get Jack Campbell.
Defense.
First 4 picks, unless you take a quarterback at 6, which I'm not opposed to. You got to take those 4 positions. Or guard. You could go guard. There's a lot of different scenarios. So.
Oh, man. All right. Do we really need to help, or excuse me, do we really need more edge with Hutch, Pascal, Houston, Aquara, Cominsky, and Harris? Yes, you do. Because Pascal is unproven. James Houston is an anomaly who I'm not even sure what he provides this year, and you are going to have to extend him because you let him go during the season and he went to the practice squad, so you don't have him under contract as long as you would have liked to, given how well he played down the stretch. So that is complicated. I still think you can never have enough edge players. Breaking news. The Packers have felt that Aaron Rodgers is worth 2 first-round picks per Adam Schefter. Schefter says the organization felt he's worth more of a, quote, Matthew Stafford package of multiple first-round picks.
See, the problem is...
Well, I feel that I should be able to drive to work every day on Southfield and not have traffic, but that's not the reality. So I don't give a shit how you feel, Green Bay. No, Aaron Rodgers isn't worth 2 first-round picks, considering you couldn't get to a Super Bowl with him in over a decade, and you're supposed to convince the Jets, who are legitimately have a top 3 defense in the NFL, who want to get there, who want to make a playoff run.
Yeah, and he's older.
And he's...
Like, you might have a year with Aaron.
He is a room killer. He's not walking in and taking hold of the culture. He is the culture, but not for the good reasons. It's a disaster move. If I'm the Jets, honest to God, I find a way to move up in the draft and just draft a rookie and deal with it, then give up 2 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers. But they've already made a move for Lazard. I think the Jets are going to pay up. They're desperate. And Salah and Douglas, it's not going to look good if they don't make the playoffs this year.
No,
I'll
it
say
won't.
that.
No, it won't.
Good for Green Bay, though. Stand your ground. Can't maybe not get what you want, but who knows? They'll get something close. I think they'll get a first and maybe a second. A first and a second. I doubt they get 2 ones. I'll leave it at that. Let's see. What else we got here before we have to go? I'm really happy with the guys we kept and got so far, says Kevin. I would agree. I think it's been a very, very good few days for the Detroit Lions. I can't remember a time where, again, this organization in general was so shrewd and I was so optimistic and confident in them. It's been a very good few days. That's why the hookah's out, by the way. And I just want all of you to know I'm very lightheaded at the moment. I'm probably going to go nap after this, and I'm probably not going to get any work done today. But it was fucking worth it, because this was a hell of a show, and I really, really enjoyed it. So that's it for us. Jeff, thank you as always. Fletch, Michael, JB, Broder, thanks for hanging out with us today. Appreciate all of you. You have a great rest of your, what's today? Wednesday. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Go enjoy yourself. Treat yourself to a good lunch. Treat yourself to a good dinner. Go have sex. I don't know. Go do something. Go celebrate the day. It's been a very good 48 hours for the Lions. We're out of here. Till tomorrow. We'll take care.